Coming up today on JBYC,
Ghostbusters is capitalist propaganda.
SCP rather. Oh, now I'm not gonna do this number at all. SCP-102253. That's JBYC. Object class safe. Only able to be observed remotely via multimedia. Self-contained and harmless. Safe for interaction.
and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to talk about yet, but we'll see. All that and more on today's episode of JBYC. Oh, God damn it. JBYC.
Like
Justin Bieber
10
Youth
minutes
Conference.
ago. I was like,
You're off for mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming
boys
men,
becoming men.
men becoming wolves.
Yeah, wolves here, yeah.
Hey, everybody, it's Monday, June 3rd, 2019. I'm Bobby Frankenberger, and you're listening to episode 11 of JBYC. This is the show where three people who've been friends longer than any of us care to remember get together and talk about what's been on our minds the past week. Every week we have a topic or a theme or an inspiration that we use, and this week's theme is ghost stories, decided by you, our community of listeners. Thank you guys, Ghost Stories. Let me introduce my fellow co-hosts, and we'll get going here. First up, longtime co-host in the booth.
I didn't know that our theme song had that awesome, sick guitar licking.
Hey, you're not up, it's Ryan. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Good. I thought it was clever making up that number string, but I knew I'd mess it up, and I did.
Oh, well, we all have our faults. I certainly can't get anything right. Next up is American Johnson, EJ, or as he's fond of being called, The Edge. How's it going?
I'm pretty good, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How's it going? Today we're going to be talking about ghost stories.
Temperature today is 86 degrees. Looks like your morning drive is going to be a nice one. I don't know. Sorry, it's the morning for me.
It really is the morning
So
for you.
It really is.
So it's
really
we're a real legit morning zoo.
You guys are
I
doing
made a
like,
tweet
real
last
small
night,
talk.
and I was like,
Ugh.
because in case anybody doesn't know this, I live in Vietnam, and I made a tweet last night that was like, hey, I know I tweeted about a lot of blah, blah, blah tonight. I said, like, tonight. And this one guy was like, WTF, it's not night.
Hot take there.
Just like,
Cool story, bro.
well, he had no clue that there were people in, other parts of the world, I guess. It was
Yeah.
just funny.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's all I got.
You
All
got
right,
to-
that's my little intro. All
You
right.
o-
move
you
on
opened
it's
to
his
the
winter
show.
somewhere. It's winter in the southern hemisphere.
Oh, that always
That is weird.
blows my mind.
That is weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Australia. the
I don't
mushy
even
feels.
know how the planet works. It's just
If you brought a kangaroo to, like, I don't know, Michigan, how would they handle that? They'd be confused.
we have kangaroos in our local zoo.
Oh, man.
I
must
assume
think
they'd be all right. You can have
real
penguins.
Wacky.
Penguins can live in warm climates, right?
Oh, yeah, Antarctica's on the other side of the hemisphere.
Yeah.
The other hemi.
Sometimes
it's, on the other
warm there.
Hemi of the sphere.
Anime has taught me penguins can live wherever they want.
Who taught you that?
Anime has penguins?
Oh,
Anime.
anime. You know who taught me that was that Adam Sandler movie, 50 First Dates.
I never saw that movie. It didn't seem very good.
They had penguins.
I saw a
in
documentary
Hawaii.
about a Japanese family, and they had a penguin that wore a backpack, and it went shopping in the market for them. And
They put it in his
everyone loved that
backpack,
penguin
the
in
fish.
Yeah, they put fish in his backpack, and he had money in his backpack.
That sounds adorbs.
It's pretty adorbs.
Yeah.
It was adorbs.
I have to say, I have an admission to make, guys. All right.
You don't have to.
We recently had a whole to do about EJ's feelings about the new Sonic and its graphic design and all that stuff, and I believe if I'm being honest and truthful, I was pretty harsh, And I even cut him off at the end of the episode because his opinion mattered so little to me.
No, it still does matter very little to me.
That's what
but go
happens
on.
when you have hierarchical power that goes unchecked.
But I have to say, I've been thinking about it
Santa
actually,
tyranny.
and I think while I don't like the way it looks, I'm not saying. So I'm coming here to
I
say.
don't like the way it looks.
I'm coming here to say that I think
It's
EJ.
revolting.
Yeah, I think Edge is right. I think I actually have been thinking a lot about it, and I think that maybe it actually sets a dangerous precedent for creators and artists and movie making and all that kind of stuff to have the public get really up in arms about something and then the studio go back and change it. What really made me think about this, to give you some context, is when I've been thinking a lot about the fallout from the Game of Thrones ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you exist on the internet, you know that there are lots of people that are upset about it. And especially in this last season, and there have been petitions to rewrite it, and it happened with Star Wars too, right? People are like, I'm gonna get 10 million billion people to sign a petition and we're gonna get Star Wars remade.
Why does that bother you?
Because as a creator, as someone who creates things, like I feel like don't artists have a vision, right? Like they have
Here's the
something they want to do.
Here's the difference.
Okay.
Sonic hasn't been finished yet. The Game of Thrones thing is finished. It's like I don't
video
care if
probably
they
has
make...
been finished though. Like the actual
So
Sonic.
let us have it. Let me have my revolting Sonic. I want the ugly ass Sonic.
Well,
I
it
want
got
the revolting,
delayed.
disgusting
The
Sonic.
release of the movie, it's been pushed back because of they wanted to
They're gonna fix it, quote unquote.
because they want to fix it because of the public outcry.
Like, here's the thing. I want the ugly, revolting, disgusting Sonic, the one that gives you nightmares. I want that. I don't want there to only ever be one static version of Sonic that's the canon Sonic that we all have to, bend the knee to. Like, this is Sonic.
Hold on,
He
we're
has
not
looked this way
bending the
since
knee to
1987.
Sonic. Like,
We
it's
have
not,
to have one Sonic. There's only one canon Sonic, and that's the only Sonic we can ever have.
That's not
the Game
the
of
thing.
Thrones thing. If they were petitioning to change it before it was released, I would be upset with that. But it's already been released. We have it. It's in the world. I guess what I don't want is a canon at all. Some people might have
There's
loved that
many
ending for Game of Thrones. They
variations
should
on
be able to have
Sonic.
that.
Like they all have a general theme
But so
Well, why can't I have my disgusting Sonic?
because your disgusting Sonic is disgusting, as you keep on saying, and revolting, as you said at the top.
I want that revolting
so
Sonic.
my argument-
I want
You are an
wacky Sonic.
outlier.
the point
Okay,
that I'm
so
making,
why do I get punished for
the
being
point that I'm
not
making here, hold on,
the only
is
outlier.
not that I don't think you should be allowed to have your revolting Sonic, or that you shouldn't be allowed
Should.
to have your.
It's dirty.
My point is that I think it might be a scary, dangerous precedent to set that everything is going to be, every creative work, every movie or every whatever video game, every TV series that comes out could be subject to the court of popular opinion instead of being a product of the artist who is producing the art.
Yeah, it's super shitty. I'd rather have the disgusting Sonic than have a bunch of people get worked to the bone to remake Sonic in time for a development phase.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That notwithstanding, though, I don't want I watched a recut of the trailer where they inserted classic Sonic,
Yeah.
and I felt nothing.
Yeah, but you don't care.
Whereas
about
with
Sonic.
revolting, disgusting Sonic, I care about Sonic. I mean, I played Sonic when I was a kid. I have Sonic nostalgia. I've had many a finger wagged in my face by the blue bomber. No, that's Mega Man. Anyway. But when I saw the original trailer, the first time I saw it, I felt something. I was like, well, this is going to be weird.
It was yesterday's
And
lunch.
It was
bubbling
no,
up.
It was interesting. It was it was fresh.
Yeah.
It was new. I wanted to
You're
see
using
where
nice
they were going to go
words,
with it.
though.
I wanted to see where they were going to go with it. I wanted to see what would happen in this strange world where Jim Carrey is Dr. Robotnik. Nobody even knows. No one knows.
Yeah, he definitely is. There's an after credits scene in the trailer.
Yeah. He's definitely.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. You get my point, though. I wanted to go on that journey.
Neko and
wanted to see
Yoko
where
is
it took me.
trolling us. Sonic is the red guy with the knuckles, right? No. Okay, stop.
That's an echidna, okay?
See, I knew that. I knew that Knuckles was an echidna. Don't try to challenge my Sonic street cred.
Yeah. They're
I just don't
they're trying to
think you
distract
care.
you.
Like, I don't think it's for us. Oh, I think it actually is for us, but
Yeah,
it's also
who
for
else would it be
kids,
for?
so whatever.
No, I think
Children.
it is for us. Absolutely 100% for us. I don't really think it's
Kids
for
don't
kids at
play
all.
Sonic.
Yeah,
I
it,
guess
doesn't,
kids
it
do
has to
play
be
Sonic.
cool enough to like go
Kids do
watch
everything now.
a summer movie. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids plus their parents, and their parents being like, "Here's what we played."
Have any of you guys seen
There-
the Pokemon Detective Pikachu?
No,
No.
Do you have any plans to see it?
No.
If it came on an airplane, if it was on an airplane, I would probably watch it.
is that your
That's
equivalent
my-
of like Netflix?
No, I have I
Or
watch
Redbox?
Netflix.
If it
It's my
comes to
equivalent
Redbox.
of like, I don't know, being stuck somewhere and having few options.
Okay, so it's that level below. I got you.
Yeah.
That's the Redbox for me, right? Like, it's like I'm curious. I'll wait until it comes out on Redbox.
Do you actually
That's
go
a-
to the Redbox?
That's
Yeah,
what I
man.
say. Yeah, that's above the
You go
above
to
the airplane.
Redbox.
Yeah, well, right, because
How does this happen?
What do you mean? How does?
How do you find yourself going to a Redbox? Like, is it just like I don't understand that.
You do understand how Redbox works, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
but
a
you have
box
to-
and it's like a vending machine.
Right.
You have to go to it. That means it's something you actually are seeking out.
Well, I do leave my home.
I've walked past Redboxes every single time and never once thought, hey, maybe I'll get a
Oh, I don't
Red-
browse
never
those
used
pieces
or
of
a
shit.
DVD.
I don't like stand at one and like browse through the movies. I have the app on my phone, and I look to see what they have, and I reserve it, and then I'm gonna go out and get movie snacks anyway, so I go to a place that has a Redbox.
What compelled you to get the app to begin with?
The convenience of being able to reserve the movie and just being able to go and pick it up.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
it.
know why Blockbuster failed when there are people like you in the world.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
I just don't know. I mean, like
no.
that's
Let me
so
give you a
weird
use.
to me.
Let me give you a use case. Okay, so
It's not gonna work for us. Go ahead.
the Captain Marvel has not come out on DVD yet. I want to see it. I didn't get to see it in the theater. I want to see it as soon as it comes out on DVD. It will not be streaming, or it will be cheaper to get it from a Redbox than it will be to want to rent it streaming. And sometimes the DVD comes out before the streaming because of like studio deals that they have with distributors and stuff. So
Okay.
I am cheap and impatient, so that's why I will get
Okay.
go
Is
to
it
Redbox.
cheaper?
Yeah, sometimes it is
No, that's the
cheaper
thing.
to
Someone in the chat, Alex the Income Squirrel said I sound bougie. Do I sound bougie because I don't use? I always thought Redbox would be like the bougie thing.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
feel like
yeah.
it's
I don't
extra
take it that
money.
way. You don't sound bougie to me. My take on it is you sound lazy. That's what you're saying. Is that why would I want
I
to
sound
go?
lazy because I don't use a movie
No,
vending
no, no.
machine.
I'm not
Yeah, I
actually
don't
trying.
know what's going on
No,
here.
hold
I'm with
on.
you,
I'm
EJ.
not
This
trying
is
to paint
dumb.
you in a bad light here. Slow your
But
roll
we're taking it.
and
We're
let
taking
me
that paint. We're
defend
putting
you.
it on ourselves. We're slathering ourselves up in that red paint.
I'm trying to say that you sound reasonable in that what you're saying is who goes out to get a physical disc.
Yeah.
And I think you're right.
I mean, the fact that you own a machine that you put a disc in and it plays movies sounds pretty bougie.
I have
to
an
me.
Xbox and a PlayStation. So
You can let that go.
Well,
EJ.
that's
It's
okay.
done.
You're digging your own grave now, Bob.
what are you talking
An
about?
Xbox and a PlayStation?
Yeah.
Uncle Mike
and
being
and a
Grumpy about being called
Nintendo.
bougie.
I live
He's not
in
gonna let it go.
I live in
I'm just kidding.
America.
I honestly don't care. I just don't understand why anybody would use Redbox. That's all.
Yeah.
It seems weird. It seems sketchy to me, honestly.
A lot of people don't use. I think a lot less people use it now because the selection on there is getting really bad. It's like you
Really?
yeah. You used to
It
be able to
must be
find.
terrible.
You used to be able to find pretty good stuff on there, and now it's just
How
like
many videos do you like? What's your
like
selection?
Spooky Buddies, the 5th Airbud movie.
No, the Fifth Year Bun
Well, you
movie's
know the
like
name of it.
hockey or something.
I don't know. No, there's the
If you
Buddies
have
movie.
like, are there 100 movies?
The puppies.
Are there 500 movies?
There's
Are
probably
there 20
500.
movies? How do they do that?
I don't know. Do we really want to spend time talking about like the Redbox
You're
business
the host.
model?
You can move on from this bit anytime you want to.
Hey, the
But
fifth
I'm
Air
kind
Bud
of-
movie is football. It's Air Bud
I'm
Spikes
gonna
Back.
keep talking about
Yeah, I know.
Redbox until you move us on.
Right.
No, we're talking about Air Bud now.
Yeah. There's the Air Bud
Oh.
movies which feature Air Bud. And then
Oh,
there's
it's
the
volleyball. Sorry, it's not.
then-
It's not football.
Then there's the Buddies movie, which feature all of Air Bud's children, and
I like
that's
to
a
use Air Bud
separate
as a-
line. Yeah,
How many kids does he have?
I think there's
Air
6
Bud?
of them.
That's actually on
What?
the average
5 or
range for
6.
puppies.
Yeah,
A litter of puppies. How many puppies are usually in a litter?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
But they all have unique personalities. There's like, I don't know. I wish I'd pulled this up so I could read them all to you, but
Wow.
Like Rex.
What?
no, it's like
Trying to name dumb dog names that would be like
they're all
Bolt?
puns. They're all puns. Like
okay.
I don't know.
like. Come on, we can do at least
can-
one
we can-
pun
I just
between the three of
googled.
us.
I just googled how many puppies are in a litter, and the first result is so oddly specific. It's for Havanese. How many puppies are in a litter?
Well,
all right, here we go. There's 6 of them. You ready?
What the hell?
You ready? There's Butterball.
What is
those kind of
Havanese?
puns. Okay,
Yeah, he's the one who likes to eat a lot.
I got it. So Budweiser, he's the drunk.
There's Budweiser. Yeah. There's
A Havanese is a kind of a dog.
there's Buddha or Buddha. He's the spiritual wise child.
Golden Retriever. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Rosebud. That's
Okay.
that's the one female.
That's the
Um,
one that won a movie award. Yeah.
Yep. There's
Why does Ryan know everything about Air Bud? What the
I'm
hell's
making
going
up
on right
fake
now?
Yeah.
quotes. What are you talking about?
Oh, you were
Okay,
so
so-
convincing. Oh my god, I totally
It's
bought
it's
into
There's
that
a Citizen
that
Kane
confidence.
reference.
it's that patented
I want to
Ryan
watch
confidence.
the movie where the dog wins an Oscar.
There's B Dog, but and he's
That's-
he's like a street puppy.
if they had a movie award for dogs, I guess they should call it the Lassie.
And there's
mean,
there's Mudbud,
yeah.
and he gets dirty all the time. He's a dirty
Does he have a
dog.
southern accent? Because if he does, I'll be angry.
He
It's a
does not.
stereotype.
He does not.
This picture Citizen Kane with golden retrievers. That's what I was picturing.
Yeah, it's
Did you
nothing
know
like
that
that. Although
every dog breed
Spooky
has-
Buddies, the Halloween one, is actually the guy who plays the Warlock is really good. You should watch that one. Have you guys ever
The role
told
of a lifetime.
Have you guys ever told a ghost story around a fire? Like people do that all the time. Is that a thing that you've ever actually
People do
done?
not do that all the time.
The only fires I've been around are with you and with my dad. And when my dad is around a fire, he gets drunk and he has serious conversations with me. And
Oh,
that's the
no.
only time he has serious conversations with me. And then I don't think we told ghost stories, so no.
No.
I don't like
gonna be a
spookies,
no.
so I have never done that.
Yeah, I don't like
You're-
scary movies.
Nope. I can tell you my favorite scary movies. I know I like several of them. I just don't like the genre.
Yeah, what's your favorite? This is a good one. What's your favorite?
Do you like
The
scary
Thing.
movies?
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Never saw it.
It's very good.
I think the last
Well
scary
known for
movie
its
I may have
practical
seen
special
was
effects.
The
It is
Ring.
known for its practical special effects. The Ring's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The Ring? Is
Yeah.
Pretty
Mhm.
okay. Yeah.
Remember
Ring
with
is-
I
the
like
weird
I
crab
like horror
walking
movies
girl?
that are sort of real, like realist. Like for instance, it's like psychological thriller kind of stuff.
So
You know?
like Rosemary's Baby.
Actually, you know what? Actually, no, that's not what I'm talking about. But Rosemary's Baby is an excellent.
I can't watch
Excellent
it. Like if I hear the opening track, I turn it off. I can't.
Rosemary's Baby is probably my favorite scary movie. Actually, I can't believe you just happened to pull that one out of a hat. I wouldn't even have thought about it if you didn't say that. But
What
Rosemary's
about
Baby is a very good movie.
It's the scariest movie besides The Exorcist I can think of.
we all went EJ, you and I went on a double date to a scary movie one time, didn't we? No, that was that was Deep Impact. Never mind.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was-
We went on some terrible double dates. We also went to see. We also went to see that. What was that? Everlasting? Ever After.
Oh, Ever After.
Somehow we
With
saw
Drew
Ever
Barrymore?
After twice in the theater.
Yeah.
How did we see that twice in the theater? We went one
I
time on a
don't
double date, and then I think we just went together, like, because we liked the movie.
Hold
Because
on.
we love each other.
Everlasting's the one where like it's like a storybook world and then also modern New York at the same time kind of thing.
No,
It's
but
I don't
maybe.
know.
But we're
Leonardo
talking
da
about.
Vinci had
Maybe that's
boat shoes.
Enchanted?
He's
and
talking
we were
about Ever
fascinated by that.
After, which is the Drew Barrymore movie, who also featured in a Scream, the first Scream. So there's a connection there.
Listen, I've been sitting on this puppy litter fact. I gotta dump it on you.
All right,
okay?
do that, and then
The
we're gonna
di-
switch to our
different
next
breeds of dogs have different sized puppy litters. That's really weird to me.
segment. Awesome.
So like Pomeranians have
Everybody,
1 to 4
everybody,
pups a litter.
do the robot.
They're tiny. Of course they do. American,
And
like
boxers
they're like
have 5 to 8, and bull mastiffs
size
have
of your
5
head.
to 13.
What is the SCP Foundation?
The Society
my
for
turn. Is it
Creative.
my turn? Am
Yeah,
I
you're going
first?
you're going first, buddy.
But I didn't do a thing first. Was that your? Was that?
Well,
No,
it's already
American.
happened. I've already done the stinger, so it's too late.
You're
Puppy
breaking.
litter
You're breaking
sizing.
order from what we did in the beginning.
You're
a
right.
liar.
Why
You're
isn't
right.
the world just overrun with mastiffs? 13 pups a litter.
You see,
Why don't we just have bull
keep-
mastiffs everywhere?
you say things to me like Bobby, we can move on anytime you want. You're in control.
Well, you two are bickering. I'm just trying to fill the dead air.
I mean, we were bickering because
Yeah.
he hoisted me into the front of the line like a cheater.
But it is a little scary. Speaking of ghost stories, bull mastiffs. All right, Ryan, do your bit.
Have you
Come on,
guys
let's
never
go.
heard of the SCP?
No.
I actually have. It's a scary monster copy pasta reservoir in which you put a code
Effectively.
for every monster on that.
So yeah, for every thing, it's not necessarily a monster. It can be like a cake that just creates another cake every 24 hours. So you have to eat the cake, and if you don't, then every 24 hours you'll have too many cakes.
Like bull mastiffs.
But actually,
It's just
but
like
not
bull
actually.
mastiffs.
Actually,
I am.
Mastiffs are
I
large.
You just
feel
said they
like you were
don't.
trying to explain it to me, but I'm more confused now than I was before.
so it's a author created Wikipedia resource of this fake foundation, this made up foundation that's responsible for locating and containing individuals, entities, locations, and objects that violate natural law.
Okay.
So it can be anything that you wanted to write SCP 2000 that already exists. I don't know what it is, but you wanted to write that, you'd write like the containment protocol usually. You can also write actual stories about it if you want though. So like the one I just talked about, that's SCP-871, which is literally a cake that will keep on spawning new cakes every 24 hours. And then if you don't eat them,
Just
then
like bull mastiffs.
it'll take over the world basically. Too many cakes.
Huh.
Too many.
And that's a
Oh.
silly one.
So these are all, of course, fake things.
Yes.
But this is really okay. So SCP-2000. I just
oh,
looked
what's
it
that
up.
one? Is it actually good?
I like this
I have a
website.
list of some okay-ish. But
So
just to show like
so
the
it's really
variety.
neat because the one that I clicked on, like, it has this whole fake. The file you're attempting to access is available to personnel with level 4 2000 clearance only, and you
Oh, you
have
might
to.
got a good one.
You click on a
But if you
link that
scroll
says.
down, usually there's mimetic things in those. Like it scans you to see if you have authorization, and
Yeah.
it shows an image.
Consciousness confirmed, retrieving file. Okay, so it says special containment procedures, object class, Thamiel.
I
Wow,
think that
this is
means
really
it contains
long.
another thing.
It's really long.
Let's scroll down to the description. That's where you want to go. Go to the description.
Okay, SCP-2000 is a subterranean foundation installation originally constructed sometime in the last redacted years for the purpose of reconstructing civilization in the event that a K-class end-of-the-world scenario could not be averted in time to prevent humanity's extinction or near extinction. Wow. So this is just like somebody comes up with this idea and just puts it in here.
Yeah.
This is, oh my gosh. This is a deep rabbit hole, Ryan.
There's some really, really
good
good ones. So this one, SCP-1337, is basically a ghost story about a woman that was killed in a ritualistic murder. And so once the foundation gets to it, she's just a ghost story where she'll flag people down to get a car ride. If they pick her up, then she'll basically get them to drop her off at her cemetery where she's buried, leave behind a sweater, and if you touch the sweater, you have a compulsion to go take it to where she lived with her parents. whatever, right? It's just a
Right.
ghost story. It's normal, whatever. At one point in this, the leader of this particular project said, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna see if we can cause a change." So he murdered the parents, burned down the house, and said, "Okay, let's see what happens now because this is connected to the ghost story."
Right.
It goes what do you call it? Decommission. That means basically it just doesn't happen anymore. So it goes decommission for a year. He goes back a year later to like make sure it's all done, just whatever, and it had switched where now instead of being a safe ghost, she does the opposite, where she has the look of when she was murdered, and if you don't pick her up, she appears inside and kills you the same way in the car.
Oh my God. That's a scary story.
It's really interesting because the way you can see in like the background, but like it's just the way it's told is like it's told for redactions, it's told
Right.
through updates, it's told through blanks and data omissions and everything that you would think that like a classified document would have in it. But it's
Yeah.
an interesting ghost story.
Anybody should really go and check these out because it's really immersive the way that like what you're just describing, how things are redacted and updated and changed. It just makes it look really immersive.
The most common
Hey,
way
Ryan.
that they're presented is like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Can anybody write an SCP
Yeah.
story file?
If you go to scp dot or scp-wiki.net,
Wiki.net.
on the right you'll see info pages and a guide hub and user tools and all that. I don't know what the confirmation process is like, but I imagine you can do it, and if you have a good enough story, it'll go in.
I think I just found my favorite one.
Sure.
It's 3011 and it says loose skinks. No, loose what's it called? Doesn't have the name anymore. Only have the
Just
name
use
of
the
what-
number.
wait,
Usually it doesn't have a name.
It's 3011 and it's called Loose Lips Skink Ships. Like loose lips
Yeah, I
sink
gotcha.
ships.
I gotcha.
And then
Mhm.
it's literally just a description of a skink. There's nothing scary about it.
So its object class at the top is safe.
No,
It
it's,
says Euclid.
That it's
Yeah.
not
Object
safe.
class
There's something
Euclid.
else going on with it.
yeah. Something else.
Oh, I get it. I skipped the first paragraph. It says, except for purposes of approved experimentation, instances of SCP-3011 must not come in with 100 miles of any nautical paraphernalia or similar items. This includes, but is not limited to, images of anchors, boats, submarines, or waves.
Now the name makes sense. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It doesn't say why though. From there on, it's just basically a description of a skink.
Alex the Ancom Squirrel says, "What's a skink? Really? Do they not have skinks everywhere? It's like a little lizard.
No,
it's
not
like a fat little
It's
It's
lizard.
a lizard. They're kind of blue. In
It's a
South Carolina,
terrestrial lizard. It's not like a gecko or something that climbs. It can only
I
be on the
missed a lot
ground.
of
It
this.
burrows into
They're
holes.
ugly.
They're not ugly. They're cute.
They're
cute.
The ones
They
I've
look like
seen
little-
in my yard are kind of ugly.
They're
They
mean.
look like little snakes with legs.
Yeah.
Here's another good one is SCP-701. It's the Hanged King's Tragedy. It's an act in 5 parts that once you start it causes people to go suicidal and psychotic.
Ooh.
During the play, this creature that I have in behind me shows up and it starts getting incorporated into the play. He's the Hanged King. And the actors will start doing revisions, all of them that are doing the same revisions without actually making an active choice. And then on the biggest day of the opening week, they'll like basically at the 4th and final moment, like or the final scene, it'll just be bedlam. And so they have like 2 copies of this and trade paperback and like in floppy disks for some reason, and 5 VHS video
of course,
cassette tapes.
because that's how you do. You know.
Well, this one is kind of it has a weird like creepiness to it, but also like the last time it happened, it was at a high school rendition, so there's a log for that that's kind of just like all over the damn place.
Huh. Let's come up with one right now. What do we? What's our
That's
creepy ghost story?
incredibly difficult.
It's an internet live stream
Yeah.
that has been streaming on YouTube for years.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, what is it? It's just
It's
a
it's a
picture.
hosted
It's-
talk show, and
a
it
hosted
always
talk show.
has to have a host.
Oh, and they have a Discord server, and if you go into their Discord server, you can get in on the chat.
Right.
But when you get in, you can never leave until somebody else takes your place.
This is kind of
It's
what I
like,
did at the top. This is what
like
this
that
is what my
episode of Star
intro
Trek.
was.
Right.
Oh, it
You
was.
dinguses.
All right. Well, you got
So-
a better one, SCP expert.
Yeah, I should have said it should be disposed of immediately in my top thing, but I didn't. And I was like, I shouldn't say that about our lovely podcast.
It should
We're a
only be
safe
disposed of
object.
if
We
you're
don't. We can only be
if
seen
you're not one of our
remotely.
309 subscribers.
I am
You better
not.
get out. Oh, that's the haunted part of our show. We have
We
300
always have
What?
to have
Whoa!
309.
Bobby, Ryan.
What?
What happens to those people who subscribe?
I
You
know.
know,
They
we have had 309
listen-
subscribers for like 2 months now. Every week we'll get 2 or 3 subscribers, and then they just disappear. It's the YouTube channel where if you subscribe to it, you disappear and nobody knows what happened to you.
They get sent to the underside.
I'm gonna do
This
another
YouTube
one.
channel has
SCP-309
SCP,
is a small plush stuffed animal that looks as if it has been turned completely inside out.
It's kind of weird. Do they have a picture?
Yeah, it looks exactly like what I just described.
No, never mind.
Cadmy
This
says
one's
if you
actually- Go ahead. Go ahead.
there's it was the lag. I didn't know you were talking. Cadmy said if you unsubscribe, you never existed.
You unsubscribe from life.
Yeah.
This one is kind of relevant to what we were just talking about too. It's SCP 2030. It's basically a memetic viral video that hides in red boxes and online streaming
No
and stuff
way.
like that. Yeah, really. It's called
why Bobby's-
Laugh is Fun. And it's basically a hidden camera show with this guy, which only shows up in the camera but never shows his face. And he does like a hidden prank show, but it also includes like maiming and stuff, and people just react like a normal hidden prank show. They're like, oh, and then once he shows up, he's like, oh, this is fine. I'm your fan. Woo. And it only involves people that died or went missing in the last year.
Oh my god.
It's just
Mitsuki
weird
Kazan
stuff like
says
that.
that they're all the same person and they unsubscribe on their multi accounts to maintain the number. Oh no!
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
So also, who is it? Somebody. Oh, Mitsuki Kazan also sent me down this little rabbit hole about Tribe 12. So get this. Just tell me what you think is interesting about this little sentence. Tribe 12 is a Slender Man-based alternative reality game and vlog. It is considered the second most popular of the current Slender Man alternative reality games of the big 3.
What?
There
What
are
are the-
apparently at least 3 big Slender Man alternative reality games, and
I mean, yeah, I know.
Tribe 12
I think
is
I know
the
one.
second biggest of the big 3.
Weird.
I
There's
didn't even know there
actually-
was one.
Well, I
No, 'cause
knew there was
keep
one.
up with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
an SCP game that does it also, which I think they have Slender Man equivalents.
I don't know.
What the hell? That's a good clip.
Yeah.
That's a good clip.
That's staying on the sound.
What the hell? And then the X-Men theme.
Oh,
So what is this
Uh,
Tribe 12 thing though? Oh, and that, like, and also before
well,
we
I
get
thought it
too
was
far
related to
obscure-
Ryan's thing because it's an internet creepy thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't even really know what an alternate reality. I mean, alternate reality game. I kind of know what that is. I mean, they used to
AR
have
is
those
when-
like treasure hunt things where you would have to solve a mystery to get
It's
prizes.
It's Pokemon Go, where you hold up your phone and the Pokemons. And
Oh, really?
And then you
That's
swipe
what
the
AR is,
Slender
big
Man.
now?
Swipe the Slender Man.
Well, no,
Those never
you
really
look
took off in
around and you
Vietnam
don't want to
'cause-
see the Slender Man because he's coming up after you.
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh.
All right.
So
You know, kind of a share.
So apparently, EJ is going to come in here and destroy, and he's gonna start some trouble and destroy all of our childhoods.
I mean, I didn't destroy it for you. Ivan Reitman did. By being a big reactionary, libertarian capitalist, right-wing propagandist. Especially when it comes to the 1984 film, Ghostbusters.
What?
So, did you know that Ivan Reitman once told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "I've always been something of a conservative / libertarian. The first movie deals with going into business for yourself. And it's anti-EPA. Too much government regulation. It does have a very interesting point of view that really resonates." Unquote.
So this is him.
now-
Who is this now?
The director of Ghostbusters.
And he's saying this like he's saying,
Quote to Entertainment Weekly.
"Gotcha."
I thought
That's what he's saying to everybody.
He's saying, "Owned you liberal cucks."
he's basically telling the world that he owned the libs with Ghostbusters.
I don't think he's doing that. I think he's just saying he like intended. Like it's not really like
Yeah, because I
Uh-huh.
don't
Flat
think
out
he
said he's
owned
a-
anyone.
He's a
Yeah.
libertarian conservative. Well, come on. Subtext,
I mean,
Bob.
sure.
It took
but-
35 years for us to dig out the subtext, but here it is. All right, so now there's a famous line. I remember it well. I don't know if you do, but it's whenever Venkman and who was it? Was it Dan Aykroyd? He played Ray, right?
No,
Played,
wait.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Ray
eh.
Stantz.
Mhm.
Venkman and Stantz were having a conversation about whether or not they should start a business. And Stantz said, "I like the university. They gave us money and facilities. We didn't have to produce anything. You've never been out of college. You don't know what it's like out there. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results." You know?
I mean, it's an '80s movie.
So-
yeah.
Well, so we've got now two documented smears against universities, where all those liberals are brainwashing all the snowflakes, and also the EPA, because all that government regulation and environmental protection is bad for business.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the whole story about the scrappy small business entrepreneurs who go against the government regulation.
Mm-hmm.
That damned EPA always trying to protect the environment and their regulation. I mean, the bad guys in that movie are the EPA.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
And they literally go to the
It's
thing
the
that they
city,
do that's
yeah.
evil is they go to a small business and they attempt to shut down their basically like nuclear ghost reactor.
They're trying to rid the New York City of ghosts. It's it's not somebody has to stop the Ghostbusters from irresponsibly using a nuclear reactor in the city.
I mean,
And
I
even-
would be concerned about that.
Spangler, when the EPA tried to shut it down, said, "Excuse me, this is private property." Huh? Come on.
Yeah. This
mean,
is
so
private.
We
I'm
had
just
that
saying.
here. Yeah.
Well, no. Okay. Come on. You don't see it? It's capitalist
No, I
propaganda.
do.
The
I just
whole
don't
idea
see
is
the
like,
point. Like,
So I think obviously you're right
You don't-
because
it's
the director
disguised.
said
I
that it
never
was
realized it
capitalist
for
propaganda,
35 years.
right? Like,
I think-
it's a Trojan horse.
like we
I think
can't.
it's a death of the author kind of thing, where it's not what he
The
meant it to be.
EPA is the bad guy. What like
Yeah, but also like it's
Come
like in movies, like deans are the bad guys all the time in movies. Like random bullies are bad guys in movies all the time. Like it doesn't necessarily mean they're saying a certain thing. It just means that they are fighting against the city because they had an illegal nuclear reactor catching ghosts.
Yeah, somebody had to be the bad guy.
But
Yeah.
thematically, it's like the EPA was wrong for wanting to regulate their nuclear reactor. I mean, that's like the takeaway that the film wants you to have. Like,
Yes.
the government can't just go around taking nuclear reactors from small business owners.
Yeah. In hindsight, that's really dumb.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. Like I guess I just don't. I just think about it in like in the time period. I just don't see it. I see it. I definitely see what you mean. I completely agree with what you mean. I just also it's like
Yeah.
it's.
Also,
I don't see
right. Sorry.
the author's intent.
Yeah.
You're good, sorry.
Also, the theme of the '80s was hyper capitalism. You know, like
Yeah.
so. Yeah, there were movies like Wall Street. You know.
So okay, I guess my question is, this is indoctrination material essentially.
So are we talking?
You take-
so
you
so do
take
we
a
want to talk about
strong
intent,
ideological
or do we want to
message.
talk about like what's happened?
I think intent-wise, it unquestionably, because the director said it was.
Well,
Like you
there's the
said,
director and there's
like-
the writer, right? So obviously the director had an intent. That is unquestionable. You're right about that.
Well, I guess this takes us to the long debate about auteurism.
Definitely
Was Ivan
author.
Reitman an auteur? No, I mean, I don't know. I would say that at least in terms of the director, who generally speaking has the most impact on
Yes.
the thematic elements of a film, it was intended to be a libertarian conservative message.
Ghostbusters
if
was
you're talking about-
problematic in a lot of ways, right? Like, I mean, the
Yeah.
protagonist
Where
of the
you
movie
going?
was a womanizing dickhead.
Yeah.
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 And so that's a problem. And then not to mention the race issues of the movie, where the token black Ghostbuster. I don't know that I want
Has
to.
one line. He has
Yeah.
one line. That's always made me upset.
Yeah. So like the movie
when
is
I was a
problematic
kid, I
in
didn't
general.
get
You're right
that.
about that.
They hire the guy. It's like a whole fourth character, and they have him through the whole movie, and he just doesn't say or do anything for the whole first 90 minutes of the movie, and then in like the 91st minute, he says, "Did you see the one that says I love this town?"
I
trying to
believe he
think.
does.
I
Yes.
should have reviewed this movie. Yeah, and I mean it is an important line, I guess, but it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but that's really not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is this. My thesis that I submit to you is that this is capitalist indoctrination material that hides as a delicious little morsel for children to consume and young people, and they don't even realize. I didn't realize at the time. It took me a long, long time to realize that it's essentially capitalist propaganda indoctrination material.
So yes, I think maybe you're right. Do people even watch that? Like, do kids nowadays even? Does that movie hold up for them?
I would imagine it probably does. It's a very engaging. It's an intergaging movie, as the Garfield pizza company would want you to say.
And do kids nowadays acknowledge and recognize that Rick Moranis or Louis Tully, the character, was the best part of the whole movie?
That I would have to say must be true. How could you not realize that Rick Moranis is the best part of the movie of every movie?
Of
he was
every
ever
movie
in?
he's in.
Everything that man touches turns to gold. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids without Rick Moranis.
Well,
on.
I mean, he was
It'd be like, honey, I bombed at the box office because Rick Moranis wasn't in my movie. They'd
Parenthood,
have to change the name.
Spaceballs, Little Shop of Horrors.
Shop of
Oh,
Horrors.
yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors. All right. Don't try to sidetrack me though. We're getting to the bottom
I
of
just
this.
don't see the point. Like, if
Don't throw
okay,
up a Rick Moranis
let's just
breadcrumb
say
trail
that it's
away
you're
from
100%
It's a
right,
red herring.
completely 100% right. I just don't see. It's such small potatoes, and I don't think anyone takes that message from it. And the director failed.
How did the director fail?
No one, I believe, takes
What's
any.
your yardstick?
What?
Like, what's your criteria for failure here?
That I don't think anyone has ever looked at Ghostbusters and thought, huh, forget all those ghosts. I'm glad they are anti-EPA.
I mean, I would have to say, like, as a kid, I remember watching that, and I remember like not even knowing what the EPA was.
Yeah.
Like, think
it's
about this.
the
Just think about
dude.
this for a second. Wait a minute. And I remember this conversation. I was like, "Dad, what's the EPA?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just a bunch
A
of
bunch of
big-
assholes.
big government bullshit, government regulation. The reason I make less money." You know what I mean? Like, because he listens to Rush Limbaugh.
Right. But is
You know what I'm
that?
saying? It's all part of it. It's
That's from your dad,
that's
though.
the
That's
thing
not
about
from the movie.
I know, but that's how indoctrination works. It's like
Sure,
you get
sure.
bombarded from all
Rush
sides.
Limbaugh.
And Ghostbusters is a component of that.
Yeah, I think
Ghostbusters
it's
and Rush Limbaugh are on the same team, and they're doing the same work, and they work together.
I would say it's the smallest little cog in a much bigger thing.
I think so. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think you're right.
Yes. No, you're right, Ryan. Yes, it is a small cog in a much bigger thing. I will not argue with you on that. That is true.
You're both right on that. I think that Ghostbusters is obviously some sort of trying to send the message about capitalism and it's, pro small government or small government. Anyway, I think you're right about all those things. The more interesting story to me is how many other terrible movies that glorify capitalism can we think of from the 80s?
Oh yeah, I mean it was a period of indoctrination.
Right.
Strong indoctrination.
But
I mean, and yes, it was a small piece, but for want of a nail, the shoe is lost.
Right. So we've
Someone
got.
stop me. I'll do the whole thing.
Oh, here's a more.
The
Can we
horse
think
is
of
lost.
movies? So this movie came out 1984 in the year of our birth.
It's not
And
the year of my birth, but go on.
oh yeah, you were born like right at the end
1
of
year before you.
'83. You're kind of like you're tagging along, right?
You're
I don't
tagging
know.
along with me.
What does
Keep
that
on
mean?
going.
So in so right in the middle of there, there certainly were movies that were anti-capitalism back then, right?
Wall Street was pretty anti-capitalist. Yeah, probably the most famous movie about capitalism of the '80s, I would say.
I don't
It
even
was
remember
pretty
that movie.
anti-capitalist.
I just know that the
Gordon
Sheens were in it.
Gekko. You don't really? Yeah, the Sheens were in it. That's all you got to remember. There were Sheens and cocaine, and it was the '80s, and they had big ties.
Yeah. Trading
Doesn't
Places.
get much more '80s than that.
I think
With
Train
Arnold
Places is the same
Schwarzenegger
thing.
No.
No.
and Danny DeVito. Oh,
No,
that's
that's twins.
Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. Where the two old men were sitting around and going, "I'll bet you $10 bajillion
Yeah, no.
that."
That was pretty anti-capitalist, yeah.
Right, because Eddie Murphy.
So it's
did
like,
it.
yeah, you had a war of ideas, and we have a war of ideas, and Ghostbusters is on the wrong side of the war.
I
They're the
think
bad
you're right.
guys.
Falling Down. I'm looking at list of movies from then.
Oh,
Falling Down
is that
was
an '80s movie?
that was it was early
I thought that
90s. It was
early
in
90s.
93.
1992 movie. I know that.
93.
No. Is it
I'm looking at it right now. Do you
released
wanna-
or produced? Released or produced?
I don't
It's
know.
important.
What did IMDb say?
It would make it further if it was produced in '93. It'd be '94 then.
I know. That's why it's important.
This is this. This is.
I want to know how wrong I am.
Right, you can look it up later. Falling Down, though, that was definitely anti-capitalist. That was, if I have to rank it on my list of favorite anti-capitalist movies, it's pretty.
I never saw
I'd
Falling
say-
Down. I
Oh
don't know
man,
what
you
you're
gotta watch
I don't know.
that.
Falling Down has some weird. Falling Down is a weird movie. It's very complicated. I don't even know if I could just, you can't define it. I don't know. We could have a whole show just about Falling
What
Down.
about the Burbs?
But
Falling Down,
That's
guys. For
anti-capitalist,
those
right?
showing up at the end of
Burbs?
the show, let's put that
let
on
me tell
the
you a
list.
story about The Burbs. I wanted to watch because I remember watching The Burbs when I was a kid, and I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of a weird, scary movie," And then I think maybe 3 years ago, I was like, I want to watch The Burbs.
As you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
It was a good movie. Never mind. I'm thinking of something else.
Is
That
it
was
good?
I
movie
couldn't
with, like,
tell if
Tom
you had
Hanks. Wasn't
stopped
Tom
and
Hanks in that
weren't
movie?
here anymore.
No, I was thinking there's another movie I want. Never mind. I got it confused. I'm really bad at mixing things up in my head. I got the space. I always get the space shuttles confused between the Columbia and the Challenger.
Who do we got?
What are you doing? What?
I don't know what's going on.
So
Short
what
Cir-
did you think the
Maddie
Burbs
Smith
was?
in the chat room says Short Circuit and its amazing sequel, Short Circuit 2.
Now that you want to talk about a problematic movie?
How about
I mean,
Waterworld? I'm sure that movie's anti-capitalist, right?
well, I don't know, in a very indirect way. But that's
That
not an
one's
80s
probably
movie. You
pro-libertarian.
keep going to the '90s.
We should go into the.
Are we-
I keep going to the 90s. Yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
the 80s.
Waterworld. I don't remember the '80s. It's like the new VH1 show.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Well, I couldn't think of a joke fast enough.
Fight Club. That's anti-capitalist.
That's very much
further.
into the '90s.
I'm staying in the
All right.
90s, guys.
I'm-
This is where I am.
all right.
Yeah,
It's
we're
where I'm
rejecting
gonna
the
stay.
premise. We don't want that.
Wow, you iconoclasts.
Yeah. Waterworld is so
you're
good,
really-
Cadme. You're right about that.
Pushing the envelope on society in the show.
Star Wars. Okay, there we go. Star Wars. That was but that was the 70s.
What?
Star Wars
Star
is
Wars
anti-capitalist.
anti-capitalist.
Now I'm just
gonna call
listing
that one
all
a
the
stretch.
movies that I can
just-
think
that
of
was
that
in
were
the
before
70s. You're
the
just
before the
listing movies.
90s. I'm avoiding the 80s if you can't tell.
American, when you did the
with
political
the Wind.
stuff last time, you should have also included capitalism and socialism so we can understand these terms. I don't think he understands what's going on at all.
Yeah, capitalism. Yeah.
Who, Bobby?
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
It's
Rear,
okay.
Rear Window. That was
You-
anti-capitalist, right?
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
I think Bobby thinks that black and white is the same thing as anti-capitalist.
It's a Wonderful Life. That's really got to be anti-capitalist, right?
You
No,
only
that
said
was
that
very
because
much
they're black and white.
pro-capitalist because the bank
What?
saved the town, Bobby.
No, but well, it wasn't a bank. It was a savings and loan.
Same thing.
But I don't think that a movie could get more pro-capitalist than It's a Wonderful Life.
And his life
I mean,
was
it's-
ruined. His
in
life
fact-
was ruined by running that bank. Thank you very much.
But he saved the whole town.
But listen, the savings. No, he didn't save
capitalism
anybody.
the
The whole
heck out
town.
of things.
No, check your "It's a Wonderful Life" knowledge there, American
this is-
Johnson, because the whole town saved him. He was gonna kill himself,
Oh my gosh.
and the bank,
Yeah, but if
the
it weren't for
actual
this-
bank, was the bad guy in that movie. You know,
I never liked that
Mr.
movie
Potter.
at all.
The-
I think it's boring.
It's pretty boring,
It's not boring.
but
I
I
have no
watch it
time
every
for it.
Christmas.
I think
might be
Christmas
boring if I
Story
watched it
is
every
dumb
Christmas.
also.
The Christmas Story.
I don't like it. I think
Well,
it's dumb.
well, that was ruined by that. What's that one network that plays it like 24/7 for a week or something?
TNT.
Turner Broadcasting System.
Yeah,
No,
TBS.
station.
they're like nobody's watching our network on Christmas, so let's just play this movie.
Do you remember how I don't know, those channels for some reason they used to give me kind of a creepy feeling. TBS, TNT, and USA.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was, but there was something about those channels. They seemed haunted. Honestly,
I've never
Speaking of
noticed
ghost
that.
stories.
That's
it's like I think the color was maybe more muted or something, or I don't know. I could not put my finger on what it was, but they gave me this feeling of dread.
anytime
watch-
I think of
Weird.
TNT, TBS, I think of like mid to early afternoon malaise.
One thing, they definitely, absolutely there were always problems with timing on commercial breaks and stuff. So there'd be the show would go to a commercial break and there'd be a 5-second gap. Then they'd start a commercial and then they'd be halfway through a national commercial and they'd cut into a local commercial.
Yeah.
There were all kinds of incongruences like that because they just spent less money on the production value stuff. So
Well, we
I think
learned
all
from
of that stuff combined.
we learned from being friends with our ghost host, to stay on theme, Grant, that it's just a useless, out of work college graduates that
don't
are
call
the ones.
people useless, Bobby.
I'm sorry. But it's just like anybody gets those jobs to switch those things. That was a mind blower to me.
I mean, it's an important job, obviously, as
Yeah.
evidenced by how terrible the job the TNT workers did, which means they probably,
Right.
I like to think it was an act of resistance against capitalism.
right.
It's called
They're like,
master
we're gonna
control.
I would
Start
like
this
to
commercial, 5
I would like to
seconds
backpedal and say that was a joke about how dumb Grant is, not a joke about how anybody who does that
Bobby,
job
don't
is
call
dumb. I
Grant
apologize.
useless either.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not doing better.
Don't apologize.
Ryan's the defender of
for
the
him.
weak.
Yeah, don't defend Grant.
Ryan's a champion of the proletariat. For now. This time.
He's the ghost host.
Do you guys actually have any ghost
with the
stories since we're near the end here?
No.
Yes, I have one ghost story from my actual real life.
I have one also. You want to go first?
I wonder if I can
rock, paper,
find some
scissors?
spooky music.
Oh my god.
Mine's not gonna be spooky. Oh, let's go then. When I was in Wisconsin, I was hanging out with this girl in Cary, Illinois, nearby.
Is this a sexy ghost story?
No, but I was driving from a local grocery store back to their place, and I saw what's it called? I can't remember what's not Black Dog. Saw the Black Dog, which is like a trucker thing and like a long haul kind of thing, where you basically see this big shadow that's incongruous with anything that you're around. It's called the Black Dog, and usually it's like a. I think usually in the stories that like truckers tell, it's like, oh, then I like dozed off immediately afterwards, and then so I got off on the next exit and didn't die, and that kind of stuff. So it's this big like it's like I don't think I like also like I just remember this, but when I was driving like across like Arizona, I saw similar stuff, but like not like skinwalker weirdness, just like weird shapes and stuff.
This is a throwback to the road trip episode we just did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
One
the only
time
time
I was
I've ever...
driving my. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, well, I was just gonna say that's the only time I've ever encountered that kind of stuff. Even though like South Carolina and our two cities we've lived in basically are ostensibly very haunted, I've never experienced anything.
This is a cautionary tale about driving when you're sleepy. Don't do it.
Oh.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
When
black
I was
dogs.
like
Hold on. Here we go.
18 or 19. Oh, this isn't really a ghost story, but okay. When I was 18 or 19 years old, I was driving my brother home from Columbia to Charleston. He was like really young, like 9 years old, I guess. And as I was driving, it was like a 2-hour drive. I was asleep while I was driving, and I was dreaming that the road was like a candy land, and the road was made out of like peppermint, and the trees were all like candy, like lollipops and stuff, and the sky was like pink and swirly like cotton candy, and like my memory of the whole drive home was driving along this candy highway.
Oh my God.
There's no way that was safe, so do not drive while you're sleepy.
Do not.
But that wasn't really my ghost story.
Do not at all. Here we go.
Oh, that's not your ghost story? Okay.
No, it was just a related story. My ghost story is very simple. I was location assistant for the movie Death Sentence starring Kevin Bacon, which
Yeah.
is a terrible movie that no one should ever watch. But we filmed it in the old abandoned insane asylum, is like literally what everybody called it. It's this old mental institution that got shut down, and we filmed most
Sanatorium.
of the movie there. Yeah. And so it's this old like 18th century building. It's really creepy. There were all these like Pee Wee Gaskins was like, who's a serial killer, like spent the rest of his life there after he got arrested. So anyway, it was a creepy place, and it was like totally abandoned in a hurry. So there were still like coats on the coat racks, and all the filing cabinets were filled with files. There were coffee cups still on the tables, like because the government shut it down like overnight, and everyone just had to leave. They got locked out. So it was a creepy place. And I had the keys. I was the only person with the set of keys on the set because I was the location assistant. That was my job, to lock and unlock the set. So 2 times I locked the door and went home and went to sleep. And then I would have to come back at like 4 in the morning before the crew all gets in and sets up. I come back at 4 in the morning, and the door was open but still bolted, so the bolt was out. And it was just like somebody in the night unlocked the door, opened it, and then locked it again and kept it open. And I was all alone. There was nobody else there.
They
except,
bolted
like, a
it so they can
sleeping
get back
security
out.
guard.
Yeah? Or get back in? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was the kind of thing you would do if you wanted to get back in. But it happened like 2 or 3 times. And I just remember being filled with so much dread because there was literally nobody else who had a set of keys except for me. And like the main security guy, and that guy was like a ex-Marine buzz cut kind of guy. I just can't imagine him screwing around with something like that, you know?
Creepy.
It was weird.
I'm gonna get a
4
lot
in
of
the morning.
Yeah.
Abusing your soundboard.
Yeah. That's what I do.
That's my ghost story.
Let's real quick before we have to.
And now for something completely different.
We have an email real fast, and this probably would have
You
been.
can't do this really fast.
Yeah, sure we can.
I didn't know we had one.
I'm telling you that we're doing it really fast, so that's why you have to do it fast. And it's probably going to be really hard to do it fast because it's the kind of question that I should have made sure you guys knew ahead of time so you could prepare for this. But we're just filling content here. Dear JBYC panel, what is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure, and why are you ashamed of having it? Shameful from Shreveport. Huh?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I don't really think I have one because I feel like I'm...
Liar.
I mean, I have to think really hard.
Liar.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't tell you. I don't know.
Well, now we know it's some kind of porn.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that.
Mine would be web novels. Really, really horrible, light novel, web novels, they're usually isekai, which is like, I woke up in another world and I'm doing dumb whatever things.
Yeah.
And they're always like self inserts and really masturbatory
Mm,
in like the mental sense.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
That sounds pretty cool, though, actually.
Your gross, horrible popcorn reading. They're terrible.
I like to jam out to
And now you know my shame.
what Avril Lavigne sometimes.
Yeah.
That's whatever. Dig deeper.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying here.
I mean, she said he's a skater boy.
Yeah. See you later, boy. That song is really kind of sad. If you think about it, that song like she's trashing on someone who's trying to have a good life, and like she shames somebody for being pregnant in that song. So
Oh, really?
yeah, she does.
She sounds
I mean-
like she needs a visit from the Burger King Feel Your Way meal team.
What?
No,
Also, you're
that was a
avoiding it
deep
also,
cut.
American. What's your
Avoiding what?
guilty pleasure?
Yeah, what's your guilty pleasure?
I'm not avoiding it. I'm trying to think of a good one.
Well, yeah.
I have a lot. I have a ton of them.
Well,
I
let's
mean,
give
I'm
one,
all
both
into
of you.
trash
We're not.
culture. Like,
We're dead airing.
okay. I would have to say, I don't know. For instance, like, I watch a lot of these like YouTube channels where they
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm into like weird esoteric interests that I don't share. So I like to watch YouTube videos where they'll take like old pieces of technology from the 70s and 80s and just they'll talk about, like, for instance, that they'll take like a old floppy drive
Okay.
and they'll go through the process of like taking it out of the box and then plugging it in, and then they'll get an old floppy disk and they'll put it into the disk, and then they'll be like, oh, it's too yellow, so we have to retro bright it. So they get like they're like constantly working on this technology to take old yellowed beige cases.
How
and,
do you
like,
have
make
time to
them-
watch this stuff?
I
Two
do. I
monitors.
usually watch those while I'm editing.
Yeah.
So I'll be editing a video and I'll just have this like it's like background noise.
Editing video must be. Editing audio is the worst. You can't do anything while you edit.
Yeah, I
audio.
know. I hate editing audio. I have to pause all my shit. It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I love old crappy sci-fi, like because I grew up on these old sci-fi TV shows, in like from the '80s, and they had like really bad production value, and the acting was terrible. But you watch those for the writing. So stuff like what's it called, Dark
Horizon.
Tales. It's like a Twilight Zone ripoff.
Might
It
be
starts
Dark
out in a
Tales.
a
Weird
museum
Tales?
gallery. Amazing
Weird-
Stories. Do you remember that? Amazing Stories.
Yeah.
It's like
Weird Tales is the H.P. Lovecraft journal that's defunct now, and I think they did some other stuff. But
What's the old show in
Tales
Art
from the Dark
Gallery?
Side, our chat.
Tales
maybe?
from the Dark Side. Tales.
Good
from
job,
the Dark
McGuffin.
Side.
Yeah. Good job.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, Amazing Stories. They were just like, I mean, oh, and also just old, like for instance, do you remember the show? Oh, what was it? It was written by William Shatner. What was that show called? It was called like. Hold on. Oh my God! Wait a minute. TV show writer. It was
What?
called like shit. Oh, he had a credit card with a little holographic guy in it.
I have
What was that?
what?
Hold on. This is. It's
Chat
gonna
is
bother me
saying
forever.
Tech Wars? Question
Tech
mark?
War. Tech War. Tech War. Tech War. Tech War. Yes.
Good job, Cadme and
Yeah,
Maddie
it's
Smith.
so good to have a
Jesus.
chat
Yes.
I have no idea
Tech
what that
War.
is.
room. Me neither.
Oh, it was this. Okay, so William Shatner wrote this novel that got turned into a TV series, and it's like I probably got it confused with something else. Hold on. But it was just a terrible show, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
it. And then there's a credit card guy. Was that Time Cop where they had the credit card? Time Tracks.
Time Cop's a
Tracks.
movie.
Time
Yeah.
tracks.
All right,
yeah.
so you can see why I would get Tech War and Time Tracks confused in my head.
Sure. Yeah.
Eh,
Time Tracks is about a time police officer who has to travel around time looking for time criminals, and he has an assistant who's in a little credit card. He pulls it out, and a little hologram pops up. It's kind of like Al and Ziggy in
I was
Quantum
just
Leap,
thinking
but
that,
in a
yeah.
credit card.
Yeah. That's
Weird.
And Quantum Leap is another great Quantum
That's not a
Leap.
guilty pleasure though. That's just an old show.
yeah, off topic.
It's guilty.
You tried.
It's a
No,
little
you tried. Thank you.
schmaltzy.
All right,
Highway
so
to Heaven.
that noise,
That's
that,
my
guilty
music
counts.
sounds like we
I love
are
Highway to
out of time tonight. Don't worry, we
Trash.
will have an after party where we'll let EJ go on and on about this some more.
But
So if that's what you're here for, then you can stick around. But that's it for the show. So as you know, this
Better
week's
be here
theme
for
was
that.
Ghost Stories. If you want to vote
don't
on
wanna
what
be
the
here for
show's
that.
future themes are going to be, head on over to our Discord server. We'll have a poll up also on Twitter at JBYC Show. Next week's theme's already been decided by the community, and it's going to be sandwiches. So that's
God.
going to
I have a
happen.
good one for that.
Yep, sandwiches. So send us your news, stories, topics, prompts, anything you want us to talk about having to do with that theme. You can email them to us, all the sorts of stuff. And did you know that we aren't the ones who decide the topics that get voted on? Who decides? Who decides?
You decide.
That's right. You guys hang out at the after party, and we get you guys to fill up our poll with options, and then we send that out to the rest of the world, and everyone else votes on it. So you can find our email and Twitter at jbyc.net. Watch us live on YouTube at youtube.com/JBYC show every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, or listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. From me, from EJ, from Ryan, and from the Air Bud himself. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye. Say goodbye, everyone. Be polite.
Bye.
Goodbye. I'm concerned for this 310th subscriber we just got.